Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
I have Dottie Carson on our telephone calling in for our radio show. Dottie Carson is probably well known to a lot of people. She and I have been talking for many, many years. She was in PR, then she went with Alzheimer's, the association, then she was with Alzheimer's Community Care, and she really did make a difference. She helped to open up the whole event program. So it started in Palm Beach County, then it went down to Broward, then into Miami-Dade, and she really is a go-getter. And she also had a situation with her mother and her father. Her father had Alzheimer's, lived in New Orleans. I know her so well, and she's a real friend, but she's an admirable woman. And that's one reason I asked her to come on the radio show, because she found out that she has early Alzheimer's. But for someone like Dottie Carson, it's a challenge and it's discovering every day. So we're going to ask her how everything's going and what are you doing?
Oh, hello. Hi, Anita. How are you? You have wrapped up my life. All you had to do was say I have a couple kids and a dog, and you had wrapped up my life.
Well, I do know you so well. So tell us, what should we be talking about?
Well, I am delighted to say that since I was diagnosed in December of 2013, that I am now in my fourth clinical trial at Brain Matters Research with Dr. Brody. That's in Delray, and I'm really pleased with that entire situation. But there's so much going on in the Alzheimer's field globally. I mean, people are talking about prevention in a very serious way for the first time. And this is excellent. We have a new study out. When I say we, it's because I'm an advocate and as well as a person with younger onset Alzheimer's. There are people who are my age, I'm 58, who have early stage Alzheimer's, which means that they have what we have come to see in the public as a normal Alzheimer's. The memory goes, a person becomes less and less capable on a very slow scale until they could live 30 years with Alzheimer's, and eventually many people, die with the disease. So that's one type. I mean, there's others. There's Lewy bodies, there's Pick's disease, there's vascular dementia. But what I have is younger onset. And younger onset, as I have witnessed it in others, because I was involved in Alzheimer's Association and Community Care, has it's a shorter term of life expectancy, and a person may be deemed as normal, except that the certain subtleties have affected their life where they can no longer work. I can no longer work, and then people begin to shut down. Their organs begin to shut down, and it's a very quick demise. Now, my situation feels very different, and I know that I have younger onset because I know the domains that are affected and the domains that are troublesome, and I know that if I don't sleep in the afternoon, then I'm not really able to have any meaningful conversation in the evenings. I mean, I'm babbling, but I'm not having any meaningful conversation. And it's but I'm hopeful. I mean, I'm on my fourth trial. I feel better now than I did in 2012. And I am very grateful for that.
Dottie,
and
what do they do?
All about,
Dottie,
all about trials.
What do they do in a trial?
Well, trials are, number one, free, and the absolute top health care that individuals can get. They first off, you get blood work, and they do urine work so that they can check your DNA and find out if, in fact, you have certain genes. They're looking for one is the APOE4, 3 or 4, which is an Alzheimer's gene. But that is one of 4 or 5 components that need to be present for you to have Alzheimer's, but it's the one that you have to have if you've inherited Alzheimer's. So, you could see they do detailed work in that regard, and then they will go further to do a spinal tap or to do a PET scan to actually see in a PET scan by the type of imaging that PET scan does whether you have darkened areas like holes in your brain because plaque has grown and it's not allowing the nerve endings to reach out to each other. That's the beginning of trial.
Now, are you on medication?
I have been on 3 different medications, yes. And none of them are available on the market, but I am very grateful for each and every one. The first one I did was, I'm going to say monoclonal, which is strictly a word. I don't know what it means. And it was given to me for 18 months through infusion, which I had absolutely no side effects to at all. And the infusion was given to me for 45 minutes once every 2 weeks. And I would go home and take a long nap after, but not because of that, because it's wearing on you to just participate. It's just I don't even want to say stressful because I don't want to mislead anybody, but it's like going shopping all day. You got to come home. Spending money just feels that way.
Okay, I got it.
I'm exhausted. My feet don't hurt, but I just am so struck by how much money I just blew. It's that emotional twinge. Anyway, so the first one I was really grateful for, and I was in the third. The third stage or phase of that drug trial. So that was very good. And I got MRIs once every quarter, sometimes once every 6 months, to check to make sure that my brain there wasn't any bleeding or swelling or any adverse effect. I felt better taken care of through all of these than I did through 4 pregnancies. I mean, it was really, it really has been good. The second, may I tell you about the second one?
Oh, I'm listening. I'm all ears.
Okay, good. Okay. The second one was a first phase trial, which means that a scientist had not been funded yet, and he mortgaged his house to get a doctor to work on this trial. And this was very interesting. It was only 24 days. And in that 24 days of observation, I was only taking the pills for 2 weeks of that time period. And I was taking a pill, and I took it, I can't remember whether it was the morning or at night. I can't remember if it was 2 of them, one in the morning and one at night. I don't remember that. But anyway, and what they were doing was treating my brain as if it had diabetes. It was a glucose-based test and drug that was encouraging the synapses to spark higher so that they could maybe even charge through the dead area, charge through the plaque to reach other areas, regardless. I ended up, and I don't know what these numbers mean either, but I was like at a number 52 or something like that on some tests. And in those weeks, I was in the 90s.
Whoa.
Yes. And there was 4 of us that had that same experience out of the 35 people that 4 out of the 12 that Brody was doing, which was phenomenal. And but I tell you what, the minute the drug was gone, I was back where I was.
Well, why couldn't you keep taking it? What wasn't available?
Because it's a trial drug. No,
so?
It's a trial drug.
Right, but if it's obvious it's doing
this is
good.
Not Mexico, baby. I mean, I got to stick with the rules.
Oh, my.
You know.
Yeah.
No, what is available to me is what is. I mean, I am dedicated to trials. I am dedicated to finding a cure. I am staying within the dotted lines all the way down every path because I need to find a cure. I need to be inspirational to people trying to find a cure. I need to give people a good testimony about it so that they will be inclined to not be afraid and to even more than that, to be hopeful.
Oh, well, excuse me. I was hoping that you was going to say that someone would fund it, because you see.
Well, I tell you what, I made a speech on Palm Beach about this experience, and there was a lady in the audience who was the #1 medical vice president of research for Alzheimer's Association. She came up to me right after that, and she says, "I need that man's information."
Whoa!
And I said, "Yes." And I said, "Okay." Forgot about it for a week, and then she called back. And, you can't just tell me something after an event. I'm like, bing, gone, So,
of course.
Anyway, so she says, she called me back within a week and said, I have not received that. And I said, and you will today. And so then I got it back out to her. I have not followed up to find out if they are speaking to each other, but I do know when I got the information from Dr. Brody, he was going to alert the gentleman that Alzheimer's Association research was going to be calling him. So I expect that, I think that he did get funding for another trial. So, there's hope for that. But, if any of your listeners are out there and they want to, buy a study to go through in a very quick way, there are many people who do just that. Mm-hmm. They get behind a particular scientist and ride that scientist all the way home. So you call me for that. Call Anita, get my phone number.
Right. Well, I was also thinking that, I don't know, is it, could I have something called Medical Minds, and I'm always putting in very unusual things from all over the world. I wonder if that doctor would allow me to at least put it in and tell him it's a study. I mean, I do that. So
right.
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
I would think so. So what I will do, Anita, is I will connect him to you.
What's his name? What's his name?
I knew, but I don't know.
It's okay. No, all right. But is he local?
No, he is not.
Okay.
Not.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So now you just finished and you had it was a great, great trial. Now what happened?
Well, now I'm on number 3, which is actually number 4. Number 1, the very, very first one, I was unable to get connected to drugs. I took a spinal tap. And, yes, they found that my spinal fluid was showing signs of the brain being affected by Alzheimer's. But when we went back to get me in the trial, you had to be 70 years old. And so, yeah. Well, you're laughing, but when I started, almost all the trials were for 65 plus. And with Dr. Brody's insistence, different pharmaceutical companies and different academic groups started to really take a look at testing younger people. And in these past 4 years now, the age requirement has dropped significantly.
Wow. So then you have, right, so you've done something that's good. Before I forget, I've been meaning to ask you, didn't Rita Hayworth have early Alzheimer's?
Yes. Yes, yes, and I met her daughter.
Really?
Yes, Princess Yasmin Khan, something like that. And what a powerful and smart woman. And she gave a luncheon on Palm Beach that I spoke at, and that's when I gave this testimony about the glucose study, and that's when Alzheimer's Association asked me about it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Amazing. All these terrific, I would call them, they're not coincidences. They're all just steps in your world. Okay, well, you are, I knew when I asked you to come on, it'd be something that'd be so great. And having you do this is, I'm sure there's going to be a drug named after you. Dottie Carson.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's more like if you're feeling dotty, take this drug, I think it'll be more like that. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm blessed.
Okay, so now are you on another trial?
Yes, I'm on another trial, and this one will be 22 months, and I'm only in month 5. And it makes me restless because, not because of the drug, but because I am just taking a pill every morning. Oh, no, every evening. I'm taking a pill every evening.
Yeah.
And I feel good, and so that I should let that be enough,
Do you sleep? Do you sleep okay?
Yeah, I sleep fine. I mean, I'm still taking a melatonin every evening of my life, and will, because I truly believe that really does help to temper the inner clock. So I do that, and it has absolutely no side effects, and so that's good. PM products, I'll say to your audience, has an effect on those people who have a risk for Alzheimer's, and it makes you sluggish in the morning, and then your gait begins to be affected. And I would encourage people to consider, if they are taking PM products, that they consider a more natural thing like melatonin. So,
thank you. Well, another question I have for you: do you go to sleep on a regular basis? I mean, is it better to go to sleep early for you, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock?
I do. I do get in bed about 9 o'clock or 9:30, unless I go out. I mean, I'm not a dormant human, but I do, and I think, I'll watch the rest of this baseball game, or I'll watch this. Game of Thrones is coming on. Poof, I missed both of them, and I wake up the next morning at 6 o'clock or so. I'm an early riser, but I sleep all night.
Have you found in your research and everything you've read that sleep is very important for everybody? Because my husband goes to bed at 10 every night. He's now 92 and doing great. But unfortunately, I really spend too many hours working into the night. And I've been told that sleep is very important.
Well, I think that the reason I have Alzheimer's to this day is because I did not sleep for about 15 years of my life. I had 4 kids within 10 years of each other. And I always had a business of some kind, and always, if I needed to, or if the business was sluggish, was working somewhere else or doing something else. And I was easily a person who, went to sleep at 1:30 and got up at 5, or went to sleep at 10 o'clock and got up at 2. I did that for years, and I think that is if I could relive my life, I would not do that. I would sleep a longer time. And they say, some people say, I just am not a sleeper, Well, that's, in my mind, like against nature,
Right.
Maybe what you need to do is start to let yourself come down from the day with the sun. And to come awake with the sun, and to live, don't block your windows. Let the natural day and night be your clock, and let that be your anyway.
It sounds like this is a book. That sounds like a wonderful book. You know, it really does. You just, the title sounds kind of something like that. But no, I could go to sleep at 10 and I could get up at 7, but I always have a lot to do. And I always say, well, I better do that once I get started. So I'm going to take your advice and my husband's. I'm going to try to go to bed and, earlier. And even if it's maybe even 3 nights a week, right?
Well, yes, even if it's 3 nights a week, but I would tell you this, that we are the captains of our lives. We are the masters of our destiny. We are the people who create our environments. And so if you are continuing to work into the evenings, perhaps there are other things in your life that you could affect, that you might want to take a look at. And there's every day is an opportunity for a change of heart, a change of method, a change of soul, so that we can give our bodies and our minds the chance that they deserve. Like, I have begun a thing where I'm having a conversation with someone, and I will say, do you have time for this conversation? Because I want to make certain that we both give this moment what it deserves. Because this is, for me, so obvious now, and it was not always obvious. I was like a bull in a china shop, Let me just get the hell in here, get what I need to do, and get out, And I'm something about knowing that this day must count as well as the very best day of the rest of your past is becoming more fun.
That's beautifully said, Dottie. I'm taking this all in. This is great. I mean, I know we're talking about very important things like Alzheimer's, but your philosophy is really important too. I think it's quite beautiful, and I think that will help a lot of people who don't have a particular disease, just want to live their life more full.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. You really, I'm going to think very hard about what you said. I'm going to do better, and I'll tell Bill I'm taking the Dottie Carson nap now. I'm going to go to bed with you. He always says, oh, I wish you'd go to bed with me. I said, well, I will. I'll be right there. And he looks at me like, yeah. But I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better Father's Day. Right. We're going to start. No, I'm starting now.
I will tell you this. He is 92 years old. When are you going to do it?
You're right. That's true. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to start. I promise.
Now
I am. Now.
Now is the time.
I know. I'm going to do it. I am going to do it because he loves me to go to bed with. Well, you see, that's the radio show. Who knew, right?
Yeah. What else can you tell us, But it's all good. It's all good. So I will, I don't know how much time.
You have more time. I'll let you know. We're still okay.
Okay, great. I have been speaking around South Florida, but I've made some speeches in Louisiana as well. That's my home, and I would like to move back home. I think that as even though I must say that I have 4 children, and one only lived here with me this whole time, and I mean not with me, but in the same city. And now I have 3 of the 4 living in the same city, and I have a 4th who in September will be coming to look around and see if he's going to come back from Hong Kong in November. And then I will have all my children here. And I'm not pushing them to do this. They, on their own, I think, see an opportunity that they may not have the rest of their life. And so they, too, are I'm trying to catch it while the catching is good,
And, so you don't need to move back to New Orleans then if they're all coming here.
This is the truth, except for the fact that I think that Craig, in his later caregiving years, may find great solace among my brothers and sisters, his brother and sister, and our many friends there. So, whereas our children are just the sweetest thing in the world, history with people as you get older, I think, does in fact give certain people confidence in themselves and confidence in I think, anyway, my whole point in this is that Louisiana is far behind in the Alzheimer's world because of Katrina.
Yes.
They had 2,000 brains in a brain bank and lost every one of them.
Oh, my.
And it tempered it stopped all their research and all their neuroscience research. And so they are rebuilding and trying very hard to come to grips with where they are and where they need to be. Well, I had an opportunity to speak to 200 people at a breakfast for the movers and shakers of Alzheimer's in the Louisiana market, and so in New Orleans, but for Louisiana, and they and I just encouraged them to start to raise the awareness, to see to it that they had a state-level Alzheimer's disease initiative pushed by the government, that money was being put into that kitty, that there was that the Alzheimer's Association was given an opportunity to double or triple in its size and its effectiveness, and I was, many of the things that we did here 10 years ago, I was pulling out of the files and pushing across the table at all kinds of different folks, and they have responded like champions. I just want to tell you that those people may have felt abandoned by their own countrymen at one point, but they are good and strong and survivors, and they continue to need the people of this nation to remember exactly the plight that hit that nation, and then followed up by the petroleum. I want to say GP. I might have. GP.
No, I understand, and we have run out of time. But I want to ask you to come back again. You are. Yep. Let me tell you something. You are so right on. You are fantastic. This will go on YouTube, and you'll be able to use this. But this has been a great conversation. You see, now you're doing the things you used to do. You're on the cutting edge again of everything. Anyway, I love you.
But now I don't have a boss.
I know,
fabulous.
Dottie, it's so wonderful to talk to you. Sweetie, it's so wonderful to talk to you. We'll get you back again. I really thank you. And just keep doing.
Thank you. Thank you, Anita.
All right. All right, Dottie. Bye.